Do you think there's a marked difference between people who have taken them and those who haven't?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a marked difference, but I don't judge anybody for that. I don't think it's. I mean, I'm not saying you do either, but.
Yeah. Well, sometimes,
yeah, it's
sometimes
cool. Well,
I do.
Well, I mean, sometimes you meet someone and, yeah, exactly, and they're like, oh, I've never done anything. I'm like, well, maybe you should.
Exactly.
Maybe you ought to give that a try.
It's such a game changer.
You're right. And this really is a game changer.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos. Learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies.
Until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, no, Solo was my biggest complaint, and I thought it was just me until I watched the review of it, and it was the cinematography.
Really?
It was too dark.
Huh.
So apparently this guy they had was known for his, subdued lighting and his silhouetting, but I have these 3D glasses on, and I'm like, I can't see anything. I'm taking my glasses off.
Shit.
I thought it was the 3D glasses. It was just the movie itself is a little visually too dark. Other than that, no, it's not, it's not an epic Star Wars movie. To me, it's just a good sci-fi action adventure.
I think that's what people are reading too much into. Like, these aren't supposed to be Star Wars movies. They're supposed to be, like, almost origin stories or side stories or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. People are blaming the marketing, but I've seen a ton of commercials. I think it was the timing. Like, Memorial Day weekend is tough. People are away. Nobody wants to go see a movie. It's not like a summer blockbuster.
Right.
I think they should have stuck to their December schedules. Like, one year is a Star Wars, next year is a Star Wars story, and back and forth.
Right.
Because that's what they had been doing with the new trilogy and, Rogue One.
And they had plans to release Solo before Last Jedi came out. Was that due date set? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Because I'm wondering maybe if the date was based on, like, The Last Jedi got all kinds of flack, so maybe we need to bump it up with Solo, and that'll help us recover. But
Interesting.
I mean, all of
I heard
these
Last
things...
Jedi is almost on Netflix already.
Is it really?
I don't think it's on... It might be in July.
Dude, my friend Kevin hasn't seen it yet.
I really want to see that again, then.
Yeah. I want to watch it with him, just... just somebody who hasn't seen it. And Luke Skywalker. Yeah, he hasn't seen Rogue One either.
Oh.
I know. Look at the hat.
So, have you just been vaping, or have you been...
It's such a game changer.
I know. It really is. I
used to be, not that I was against it, but it just didn't really work for me.
I guess it was before, I feel like the industry revolutionized itself the past couple of years with all the legalities coming and stuff like that, so...
I mean, they still don't get me.
Oh, they...
I mean, sometimes,
I'll be able to tell how fucked up I am because sometimes I'll go over to my girlfriend's and smoke, and then I'll be in and I'll be like, oh man, I'm so paranoid right now that she can tell I'm all fucked up and stuff like that. Like, alright, that one worked.
See, what I love about the Spicy Trump memes is it started right before he was elected and has continued, except for that gap. It's a very accurate record of all of the different shit that he's, it's just like a perfect chronology. Just looking at these memes, you can see just the history of everything that we've gone through with him in such a unique way.
pathological to the point where, like, he thinks he's gonna run again in 2020. Like, he's gonna be in jail by then.
You think he's not gonna be in jail?
He's not gonna be able to run again. He's gonna, like, Mueller has so much shit on him.
Yeah.
It's just unfathomable, like, how, I don't know. He's obviously a very good propaganda machine.
You mean how they haven't gotten rid of him already?
Yeah.
Yeah, because impeachment is a whole thing.
Astounding to me.
It's a whole process that nobody's done since Nixon. Right? So...
Wait, no. Clinton was impeached. He just wasn't removed.
Yeah, what was that? There was like a technical name for that, wasn't there?
No. Well, impeachment isn't removal from office. Impeachment is just bringing charges against the president.
I thought that was also... I thought removal was part of it.
That's the big misunderstanding about impeachment. Impeachment just means that the president is on... or an elected official is on trial for crimes and misdemeanors, I guess.
I just can't see him actually... I
think
karma
it was...
hitting him in some other way.
Nixon wasn't impeached. He resigned before anything could happen.
That's right.
So Andrew Jackson and Bill Clinton are the only presidents that have been impeached.
Right.
And neither was removed.
Right. Okay. Damn. Kevin was saying that the summit meeting was like a perfect time for an ambush and assassination.
No. See,
I
as much
agree.
as I want Trump gone, don't make him a martyr.
No, exactly.
That's just going to fire up his stupid-ass, ignorant base and cause even more problems.
Then I was listening to a podcast yesterday. They were talking about, you know, like Carl Jung, how everybody has the shadow side. Every single human being has their dark shadow side. Even the things about you that you know are like dark, your shadow side is so deep and buried that you really don't know what a monster it is, right? But everybody has it, and so you have a choice. You either, deny it and keep it down, or you deal with it, you face it and integrate it, because you can't get rid of it.
Right.
And then you take that same idea with a single individual, multiply it out with a collective, so that a collective's leader is the representative of
the dark.
Well,
of this.
Either the shadow or the light side. In this case, Trump would be the manifestation of our shadow side. Like, think of all the different things. Egotism and selfishness and all of that shit is just a reflection of where we're at as a society.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's
for the time we're living in, he's the perfect president.
Yeah, I know, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to think. I mean, the primaries on Tuesday were encouraging, but I just hope there's a higher turnout in November for this blue wave to actually happen.
Yeah. And I
mean, I'd like to think that people were just like, oh, it's the primaries, whatever.
No, but they're not, because most people don't vote. And I'm guilty of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I
really
didn't vote on Tuesday. I don't want Menendez to be our fucking senator, but I guess we have no fucking choice.
Yeah. There's a father of a kid at Devon's school, so they have dad's night.
Okay.
And one of them is running for maybe appropriations in town, something like that, like on the council as a Democrat. So that night, I remember dude wanted to talk about local politics the whole time. And then I was taking a nap a couple weekends ago. Doorbell rings. I get up. There he is with like 3 other guys all dressed in suits. Just want to let you know, the primaries Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, got it, thanks. How do you say to somebody, I appreciate what you're doing, but I view all of this as short-term temporal nonsense in the grand scheme of things, and I don't want to play the game. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's your game. I don't feel like playing it. But then the other side of it is local politics is actually kind of important. It's more important than national politics.
That's where shit can really get done.
Yeah.
That's what affects your day-to-day.
Right. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why Ray's leaving, because down the street from us at the business park, they're putting in this 400 residential unit, and it's going to have restaurants. I mean, it's going to completely change the town.
Yeah.
And crowd it up and everything. And he said the property taxes are already getting out of control. So I don't blame the guy, even though he was he grew up in a house. He's been there his whole life, and now he wants to sell everything and move down to Florida. Which, I mean, and he said the other reason was the last winter just really took a lot out of him. He had pneumonia. He got pneumonia during it. Yeah.
Damn.
So, I mean, I don't blame him, but it's just, I mean, at this age, you know, why?
Yep.
Just stick around and ride it out. You came this far.
Yeah. Last winter did suck, though.
It really did.
And I didn't even get pneumonia.
Yeah. Yeah, we felt bad for him. Even that shoveling took a lot out of me.
Yeah, right?
There's no reason they call it the, what is it? Like
Yeah, heart attacks now.
Heart attacks now. I mean, there was one day
There was
where
a
I
lot of
really
heavy
felt
snow.
it. Really felt it. You been watching any good shows? I actually did a nice little run over Memorial Day.
I have a show for you, if you haven't already watched it, The Good Place.
Yeah, I
Have you
just
watched
started
it?
it this weekend.
Really?
I'm on episode 5. And I paused because Nikki's trying to catch up. And I'm like, babe, look, they're short and you got to catch up so we can watch it. Otherwise, I'm just going to go without
well,
you.
you're good on torrents. Season 1's on Netflix. I had to download
There's more
season
seasons?
2. Season 2, yeah,
I
there's
didn't
2
know that.
seasons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it got renewed. It's going to be on NBC's Thursday night lineup.
Is it really?
In the fall.
Wow.
I didn't know it was that critically acclaimed.
I didn't either.
So, yeah.
It's one of those, I was telling Kevin Wednesday, I said, it's a show that I'm like, I shouldn't be liking this, but I do. I don't know how to explain
You
it.
would like it because of the whole philosophy
Well, that's what
aspect.
that's
I don't know
what's
if they've
funny.
really gotten into it at that point in the 4th episode, but it really gets into... I mean, it's good on so many levels.
Oh, no. I mean, I understand the fact that, you know, her presence there creates the glitch. I mean, it's great. It is pulling in all these... But in such a weird
you
way.
have such...
Good. Because I was enjoying it, you know? And it was literally a random click. I was like, whatever, I'll just check this out.
I'd been meaning to for a while, and Melly and I don't like any of the same shows, so we like actively look for it. Like, she's like trashy reality, and which is all fine and good. I don't care.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi, and, so I'm like, all right, we need to find a show that we both can watch and enjoy, and we like blaze through it.
Nice. Okay. No, yeah, it is. It is good. What else? I watched the new season of Arrested Development.
Oh, how was that?
It was good.
Did you watch Sense8?
No. Well, we got to towards the end of the first season. We never went back to it, but now I think I'm going to because I know it has a finale.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I gotta watch. I think I took off. We get 4 like personal days where you don't even have to give a reason to be out, but they don't roll over to the next year. So we went to AC like last month. I'm taking off Monday. I took off Wednesday for my birthday.
Nice.
And I still have 1 to use up. I don't even know when I'm going to use it. I just don't want to
Very
lose
cool.
it.
Now
But so I'm thinking Monday. I was gonna clear out my DVR, but I'm like, you know what? That Sense8 movie finale just came out, so
Might as
I'm
well,
probably
right?
gonna watch that.
Yeah. When's your last day?
With kids, we have half days 18th, 19th, and 20th. Wednesday the 20th is our last day, and then teacher meetings Thursday,
You
Friday.
bastard.
Melanie goes to the 28th.
Oh,
When are you guys going to?
29th.
Yeah.
29th, and then I leave at 6 a.m. The flight takes off at 6 a.m. the next morning for Florida.
Do
Me
you
and
have
Devin.
kids on that Friday?
I'm sure I will. Yeah, kids are to the very last day. It'll be all the kids whose parents...
How the fuck do you do your checkout then? Do you still do that whole
Yeah.
treasure hunt?
Yeah, the whole thing is total and complete nonsense.
Dude, you know what Raspberry Pi computers are? So they're like hobbyist computers. I'll show you. I have one downstairs. I built a Nintendo out of it. They're like little motherboards that have 4 USBs, HDMI, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi capability. And there's no hard drive, but there's a place for a memory slot, and you just put in a little memory card with an operating system on it. And you can tinker around and do most anything. Like I said, I built a Nintendo. It plays every Nintendo game ever: Super Nintendo, Genesis,
crazy.
Atari. I never showed you that.
No.
Wow, man, I'm
What's
so
it
proud
called
of
again?
that thing. A Raspberry Pi. So they're $35, and you can get kits that come with like power supply and all this other mini little accessories.
That's nuts. I didn't even know
So you don't have to just build Nintendos with them. You can build like home automation systems. People have made like photo booths, kind of like you would see at a mall or something like that, but like they put it on their counter and pull it out when they have parties and stuff like that. Or you can build your own Alexa. You can make it into a personal like firewall and virtual private network server on your home network and stuff like that. So anyway.
Oh my God.
So now, I bet there would be some way I could rig up an automatic.
Oh no, that's mushrooms. Never mind.
What?
Like if you eat them, like if you, let's say you eat like 2 grams or something like that, and then you're like going up and you're starting to plateau. If you eat more, it doesn't like increase your plateau. You just keep going on that.
Oh, that's mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know
other
about,
one.
I don't know about edibles.
Oh
It
no,
would
the
probably
edibles,
be the opposite.
The
You'd
edibles
probably
is the opposite.
go
Yeah.
fuck.
The more you take, the more dangerous it can
Yeah.
get. What is the earliest you can remember becoming aware of what psychedelics were? And in what context were they revealed to you? Like bad, good? What was your initial framing?
Like the first time I
Learned about that kind of shit.
saw something, or like I learned what it actually did. Like, because I guess I can
Well,
remember
no,
being
not-
a kid, like watching a movie and seeing like,
Yes,
but you don't,
that's
you
what I'm
don't
talking
not
about.
process,
Not,
you don't know
not
it.
what they actually do. Your first impressions of it.
I really, that's hard to say actually.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, because
I
I was having
guess-
trouble too.
In school, maybe, like, I don't know. So you mean like that they made you trip and do all this other shit, or just like, sorry, I still don't.
Yeah, so like when you thought as a kid or as a young
As
person,
a kid, yeah, it's like, oh, you do drugs, that's bad, whatever.
and you're gonna go
you don't
crazy.
know actually what happened. Yeah, you're gonna go crazy. You'll go, I don't know, whatever. And then obviously as you grow up, you learn what the actual
Okay, so then
purpose or what actually happens. Because as a kid, you don't know. Oh, you go on this like journey. It's like you can get lost in your mind, or you can do whatever.
right. So then when did you first learn that they were used for that purpose?
Oh, I don't know, like maybe middle schoolish.
Wow. Okay, that's early.
But it was like through friends who like were more advanced, I guess I'll say.
In middle
like,
school, they were already.
Not that they were doing them, but that they just knew about it or
Okay.
something like that. Or
All
maybe
right.
it was like watching, I don't know, I was gonna say Cheech and Chong, but I don't think it was. I've seen that in middle school. Yeah, I guess maybe through friends, or just like, I don't know, even like health classes or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I guess you would learn. I never had DARE, so I guess they just covered that shit in health class or something.
Yeah. I mean,
like
we
from a
had
textbook.
DARE, and I don't remember it. I don't remember DARE. I mean, I do remember being very against drugs when I was a kid and winning
Well, sure.
an award. I won an award in 8th grade for an anti-drug essay
Good for you.
that I got up and read in church in front of
Wow.
everybody. Yeah. The irony. And but
That's hilarious.
right, it is.
On so many levels.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, so then was there a point where you changed your mind from, did you ever think, I'm never going to take these things? Or
Oh,
this is
sure,
nothing?
yeah. I can still remember being down the shore, and like I would drink and stuff, but the moment someone mentioned weed, I would be like, all right, I gotta go.
Wow, okay.
Or I would just get really scared, like, not that I knew I was going to do them, but I just didn't get. I think it was the fact that I was more scared to like get caught by the cops and get in trouble or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't even know what changed about weed. But the other stuff like came much later. Well, not much later, but later on. Like I definitely was drinking at first, obviously, and then smoking for a while before I even tried anything. Before I tried shrooms or anything like that.
So
Not that I would say I'm bad experience with lots of drugs. I strictly have stuck to a few basics.
oh, that's true. Yeah, I've definitely
Yeah.
tried more.
Just alcohol,
than
weed,
you
and
have.
shrooms was the only ones. Oh, no, that's not true, but whatever.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we'll get to that. So weed was, in terms of psychoactive drugs, alcohol, I'm not going to include in that mix. The weed was the one you started with?
Oh, yeah,
Or should
sure.
I say cannabis?
Yeah.
Let's be professional about
Yeah,
this.
right. Yeah,
Um,
cannabis was my gateway drug.
And do you remember when or what that experience was like?
The first time I smoked?
Yeah, like what made you say, I'm all right, and then what was it like?
It was a
getting
weird
high?
kind of first time smoking, I guess. It was after a Tom Petty concert.
No, that's perfect.
My buddy I was with, it was so random. I met this guy on vacation, and we hung out a little while in Florida, and then it happened that he lived in Jersey, so obviously this was way before cell phones and all this shit, so he let me know he lived in Holmdel, I think. Yeah, or very close to it, and he called me up one day and said he had tickets to a Tom Petty show, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'd never seen Tom Petty before, so I drove down, and he was like driving around before, and by this time my stance on weed had kind of softened. Like I said, I was a little bit paranoid a few years earlier, and this was in high school when I was at this concert.
Okay.
And so he's driving around before the show, like smoking, and I'm like, oh, damn, should I, shouldn't I? And I wound up not doing it.
Right.
But we had a few beers before we went in, and then after the show, I was like, I don't know, maybe I was just amped from the show or something, and I was like, all right, give me some of that.
Nice.
And it actually, I don't know, I always call bullshit when people say, oh, the first time or first couple times you smoke, you don't feel it, but I really didn't feel that much different.
Oh, no,
than
I was the same
normal.
way. I was the same way the first couple times.
But I mean, this was back in like the mid '90s, and the high school kids in Jersey, you can't get good shit.
No,
so,
yeah,
like,
no, it was probably swag. Yeah.
So I don't know, but like at least I was like, all right, now I've done it. And I had another close friend that I knew smoked, so I was like, all right, well now I'm gonna ask him to start hooking me up.
Yeah, you're off to the races,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so then it's like, all right, now I've introduced weed into my, and you know what that does and its benefit, its uses.
Right.
Right, and you just assimilate that into your life and all that. I mean, was it profound in any way? Was it?
I wouldn't call it profound, but it definitely opened something up in me. Like, I wouldn't say I'm like a terribly shy person, but it definitely opened me up into more and made me more social and definitely open to other things. Yeah, like, I mean, even just the act of smoking itself can make you new friends. Like,
Yes.
just in
Yes.
smoking circles and stuff like
the
that.
whole
but-
ritual around it.
Yeah,
No, you're
exactly.
right. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely glad I smoked before I went to college, because that's, as I said, it's such a social thing.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess, yeah, it would have made me more open, and I don't know, I would say it made me smarter, but I guess maybe just introduced my brain into new areas and ways of thinking I hadn't, or I wouldn't have thought of before,
Sure.
I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And that was why I
I
loved
don't know.
it.
I feel like that's so cliche, but it really did.
Well, no, it's sometimes, well, cliches are there for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my biggest favorite cliches was I was a big Pink Floyd fan before smoking. And then when I started smoking, I would do that initial listening to Floyd. And I knew what a cliche was, but I didn't care because I
Right.
understood. You know,
Right.
I was like, wow, this music is a whole other dimension.
Well, I was doing the same thing with a lot of like Doors and Zeppelin and Stones and stuff like that. I mean, not that's all. Well, Zeppelin could be. Not that it's all like smoking music, but yeah, I would say Floyd is definitely more.
I remember-
I never got into Floyd though.
I remember well after I started getting high, somebody said to me, because they know how obsessed I am with Genesis.
Sure.
They said, oh man, you must have loved listening to Genesis when you were high. And I thought about it. I was like, You know, I haven't really actually done that. So then I started listening to
Nice.
a band who famously, none of them ever. I think Phil Collins was the only one that actually smoked weed maybe during
Oh,
the
really?
run. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The rest of them were all just sober.
Huh.
Compared to so many other bands of the day that were creating music as creative and complicated and fucked up, but they were getting their inspiration
Yeah,
from the
sure.
psychedelics. These guys weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's jump into that. So from being a pot smoker to
Cannabis.
You're right. Being a cannabis smoker to psychedelics. Like, how did that leap take place?
Well, as I just mentioned, after I first smoked, I knew my really good friend was also a smoker, so he was able to hook me up. We went on to become college roommates freshman year, and he had done shrooms before, so I think it was like just a few weeks after we had gotten there in fall semester of freshman year.
Wow.
We tripped, and it was really cool. Like, we had lots of farmlands. Like, the campus was crazy. It was like a big campus, and like it's a small city almost.
Where is it?
And then you'd go. I'm sorry.
Where was it?
In State College,
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
So the campus was like its own little city, but the minute you crossed like a few streets, you were in like farmland, because they did a lot of agricultural studies and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we like just started walking, and we just went around like this crazy, like, it was near fields where I guess like they would have cows, but there weren't cows at the time. And then we walked through these woods, and like we could have gotten fucking lost as hell. But like we just, I don't know, we were just walking and talking, and I don't know, it was a cool time.
Yeah.
And
How much did
yeah.
you do that first time?
I was trying to think of that, like when we had, almost each time we've tripped, I think back to that experience and wonder like how much it was I took that first time.
That's interesting.
But oh man, I forgot about this. Well, it goes back to how many drugs I've done. I forgot to include whippets in that, because we took the shrooms, and then before they kicked in, we were doing whippets.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And
because
that's
completely different, and in
yeah,
a lot of ways.
I forgot about it. So that and ecstasy. Those are the only. But I've only done ecstasy like twice.
So I gotta interrupt you there, because now you're jumping from one to the other.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
getting so excited because there's all these memories attached to it. But with the whippets, we started off. I think my friend started off with whippets, but we soon learned that there was a place in Philly, 25th and Federal, where you could go and they would fill the tank for you.
Good tank. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a huge tank, and I mean so many nights down in the basement.
I love how everybody's nitrous stories involve Philadelphia.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's such a nitrous
But
city.
I mean, we're talking like 3-day benders, where it's just wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, how many
Yeah.
brain cells are lost that weekend?
So your first psychedelic was the mushrooms, and that was a wonderful. But did you
Right.
learn anything?
Oh, it opened up a
significant?
door, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Was there any
now that they're starting to do all
revelations?
these studies on them, MRIs have shown that it literally rewires your brain. So I'm not surprised to look back and say, oh yeah, that's kind of how I felt, like my brain had been rewired, like new connections were made. Yeah, you just feel more open and perceptive to things that are going on around you in the world. And I dare say maybe even a little bit happier. You gain a new outlook on things.
Indeed.
I would say. Yeah.
Have you ever had a bad trip?
No. Well, I mean, I've had a not so great trip or not so good trip, but never a bad
Not
trip.
like nightmarish.
More like I'm just bored. I'm gonna go smoke a bowl instead, or something like that. I mean,
I envy
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I guess I'm lucky that way, but I don't know.
I mean,
I guess every time I don't know, obviously drugs can take over at any time, but I guess always in the back of my mind I've been able to have a little voice that's saying, alright, you're still in control no matter what.
Right.
And that's why I don't like getting too drunk, not that I don't do that, but I don't like being out of control.
That's the
Completely.
reason a lot of people who haven't taken psychedelics give for not wanting to take them. They
Really?
say, I'm afraid of losing control. But then they'll go out and do
But
benders.
then that's like the whole point of doing drugs in the first place, almost.
Is
Like,
surrendering your ego.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's a marked difference between people who have taken them and those who haven't?
Not necessarily. I think different things are for different people. I'm not going to sit there and judge anybody. I respect everybody's decision.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I would say there's a marked difference, but I don't judge anybody for that.
Oh, no,
I don't
no,
think
no,
it's.
no.
I mean, I'm not saying you do either, but.
Yeah. Well, sometimes,
yeah, it's cool.
sometimes
Well,
I do.
Well, I mean, sometimes
look
you
at
meet
somebody-
someone and yeah, exactly, and they're like, "Oh, I've never done anything." I'm like, "Well, maybe you
Yes.
should.
Exactly.
Maybe you want to give that a try."
Exactly. Right. I mean, I understand it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not the only path to
No,
higher
no,
awareness
yes,
or anything like
definitely.
that. Of course not. Okay. So then, how do you go from mushrooms to the other? What was the next thing after that you remember experiencing?
Well, the whippets I had done before I did shrooms. Like, we would just do whippets on their own.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then the next drug after that, and the last new one I'd ever taken was ecstasy. That was probably later on in college, but I only did it like a couple times.
What was your experience on that versus the mushrooms?
Oh, mushrooms are just more cleaner.
Right.
It's obviously organic versus synthetic, and I obviously tripped a lot more on mushrooms than ecstasy. But just the the hangover
From ecstasy?
is
Ugh.
awful.
Yeah, it's one of the
Absolutely awful.
The only thing worse is a hangover from coke, which I assume you've
Oh,
never
no,
done.
I've never done
Yeah,
coke.
it's horrible.
But I
Horrible.
can see, I mean, my 3 roommates at school used to do that,
Ugh.
do benders like on the weekends,
Really?
and just Sunday afternoon seeing them, I'd be like, dude, why do you do this to yourself?
You really want to die, and then
Yeah.
you understand why people.
And we've been up drinking. Like, I feel bad hungover on alcohol, and I look
Oh.
at them and I'm like, I can't imagine what they must be
right.
feeling.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, just for the record, like I would put that in a different. When I say psychedelics and the things that we're talking about, I wouldn't put coke in that category.
Oh,
to me,
no,
that's
definitely not.
a completely different
Yeah.
thing and bad for you. Okay,
So
so
the DEA saw it that way.
what was the context of your ecstasy trip, your MDMA trips? The setting, where were you?
At college, in my apartment, my roommate's friend had brought some pills out, I think. Man, I'm trying to remember this. And my girlfriend at the time was there too, and we all took it. And I don't know, it was just odd. I mean, we had a good time and everything. I'm glad my girlfriend was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing really memorable happened about it. I was like, all right, this is cool and fun, but I don't know. I didn't like the way it made my heart feel too. Obviously, again, the hangover, it's worse, but like just during
Well,
just like that, and like the teeth grinding and all that shit.
Well, if you don't drink, I mean, I
you
found
have
with
to-
that, if you don't drink water
Oh, yeah,
constantly,
you're
it's a
screwed.
major problem. But also, too, is you don't know if it's a clean pill unless you test it.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
So you don't know what you're getting.
And I think the other time was New Year's Eve, 1999 into 2000. I think. I can't see. This is how unmemorable it is. I don't
Well-
even remember. And then there was a so-called third time, but we took the pills and it was just like aspirin or something. So
Oh,
I say
really?
2 times I had tried to do it a third, but
Nothing.
by then I was just like, you know what, fuck this. I'm done with this shit.
I got to go back because you mentioned New Year's Eve 1990 2000. So I
Uh-huh.
just have to drop in there that, speaking of drop,
Uh-huh.
that was the most significant trip I've had in my life. to
Really?
date.
On what?
4 LSD gel tabs.
Oh, wow.
And so not paper now. This is like a
Yeah, yeah.
gelatin that absorbs it. And it makes me think of my brother because he's the one that made it happen. There was an acid resurgence in the 90s. Like I've been hearing it on podcasts. It started in California and it made its way.
Dude, acid was everywhere when I was at school. in the
Right,
90s,
exactly. And so we were part of that too. We were able to become part of that too. We drove down to where my brother, he was going to school in York in Pennsylvania, hooked us up. In fact, that night we drop before we drive back to Drew. 3-hour drive through Pennsylvania. And my brother's like, "You'll be fine."
Why would you do that?
Because, we're crazy? I don't know. Like, looking back, right, why would you do that? And I remember...
And this is New Year's Eve 99 to 2000?
No. That was something.
Okay,
This
sorry.
was just like how we got those gel tabs in the
it.
first place. But so anyway, we made this 3-hour drive. I drove, and I remember just the lines and the lights just looked like streaks of light. But Doug, this is one of the reasons why I consider him a spiritual conciliore or whatever. He talked to me the entire time. We opened up to each other, and he helped. There was one point where I almost turned and went south, like it said South Carolina or whatever. And he's like, no, we want to go this way. So we got there. But when we got there and we walked through the door, I turned to him and I said, "Doug, that ride?" I put my arms up like I don't remember any of it. I don't know how we did that.
It was just the two of you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so then now that we have this stuff, there was a 4-month period, senior year of college, where it must have been 9 or 10 times that I took it. I took it once at Christmas. And then the big one was, we got this hotel room at the Sheridan, me and Doug. 4 gel tabs each. And just closed the door and stayed there the whole time. And it was, like it was... it took years afterward to process that experience.
Wow.
Like, it really was that intense. And there were a point where we were listening to the Allman Brothers, Mountain Jam.
Okay.
And he's laying on the couch, and I'm laying on the bed. And I swear to you that we were flying, like, out of our bodies, just to the music, like, just in some sort of void up in by the ceiling, dancing out of our bodies. And I remember when the music came down, we just slid back in our bodies, turned and looked at each other and laughed, And there was one point we were standing facing each other, and he's just right in our eyes, and he's just like, look at me. We're looking at each other. Everything around us dissolves, but all I see is his face. Like, the abyss, the watery
Sure.
ripple. That's everything around him was just watery ripples. And he was telling
Like
me sort of
portrait mode.
telepathically. Yeah. And he was going, look what we can do. And he just goes, and this arm appears. He was probably just lifting his arm. To me, it looked
Have
like...
you seen Donnie Darko?
Oh, yeah.
With, like, that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was very much like that. The chest thing.
Yeah.
Where he would think about where he was going to go.
Yeah.
And would already... Yeah. That was crazy. So that was the most intense.
That's fucking nuts.
His interpretation of it, he always breaks it down as, that night I was recreating my decision to come to Earth and you were recreating your decision to leave Earth.
Holy
So
shit.
it really felt like I went through some sort of death scenario.
Wow. See, obviously they're both psychedelics, but that just puts LSD in a whole different category than psilocybin.
That was an extreme amount.
Okay, true.
Because I say that
but
because...
you think you would get on that level if you took enough mushrooms?
Well, let's talk about that time we took the highest dose we had ever taken.
Yeah.
Right? So, was it 4.3 grams? Something like that?
I think it was just 4, but still.
Either way, that didn't bode well for me that night. And you were, once again, you were just fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, you seem to be able to handle high doses of these. But yet, that's what I'm getting
Man,
at.
that was like 2 years ago? Like right about this time.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That was a weird day, and I remember much of it. I remember a lot
That
of what
might have
what
been
happened.
2 years ago today.
Today? That's crazy. What is today? June 9th.
Because it was for my birthday.
Right. Birthday's the 13th, so... Huh. Was it the weekend before?
I don't know. Might have been the next weekend. But
It's
still,
crazy.
that's interesting.
But yet, so this is what I'm getting at. So you'll be fine taking a high dose of that, but you still are hesitant to even experience what an LSD trip would be like.
Yes.
even at a nice low dose.
Yeah.
Because it's very similar to mushrooms. It's funny you say
mean-
that to me because you've opened up to
I
so
know
many
that-
other things at this point.
I know that age is just a number, but I'm just, at this point, I'm just getting too old to be doing this stuff, man. I'm just, I don't know.
Are you when you say stuff, you mean everything or just?
No, I mean, I'll probably always smoke, or at least vape.
Oh, but you mean having the psychedelic?
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not that it's bad. But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, is it maybe you feel like you've gotten everything you could from it, or
Yeah.
everything you need from it?
Exactly. I think so. And I'm not saying I'm closed to the idea of doing it again. You never say never, but yeah, I guess for the foreseeable future, I don't really feel a need to do it.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same
Maybe.
way too. I mean, I've always felt that, and this is the way it's recommended. Either, well, microdosing is the new thing now. But
Yeah,
who's
sure.
going to microdose on a regular basis unless you have access? But they tell you that you should use it as a refresher, a reminder. Some people once a year. Some people need it maybe every 5 years. But that it can be a real help for people in the middle to late age who sort
Sure.
of get set in their
Yeah.
ways or patterns or maybe dealing with things, and then they have a trip and they remember again, so it can be helpful that way, I think.
Exactly.
You start to take
I mean,
things
there's
too
been a lot of
seriously.
studies, not here, but in the UK, with like PTSD treatments and even smoking cessation and stuff like that. Apparently, like with like one-on-one therapy and psilocybin, like it helps you quit smoking.
Yeah, I think that was my missing ingredient
Yeah.
because it never got me to quit smoking cigarettes.
Well, I'm sure they synthesize it somehow, or I don't know.
Well, no,
whatever.
because the therapeutic aspect was
True,
missing.
yes,
Right,
yes.
That's what I'm getting.
That's what.
Although,
I see. Yeah, duh.
although if you really look at it, I'm vaping now. I'm not smoking, and I do feel that the sort of, what would you call that? That period where we were able to trip for a while had a lot to do with me. It taking a long time because that's the way I am. I'm stubborn. But I think that those trips helped me get to the point of not smoking cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe
Interesting.
maybe it would have gone a lot faster if there was a therapy involved in conjunction with it.
Sure.
Yeah. So you never tried salvia?
No.
Never
See,
tried.
now you're.
See, let's-
I've smoked salvia maybe twice.
Oh, okay. Well, so then you've tried it.
Yeah.
What was that like? 'Cause those are
First time,
wild.
nothing really happened to me. And then the second time was literally a block, if not on the same block, of the Hoboken police station. My friend had it, and he had like a little one-hitter, and I guess I took a quick hit of it or something. And I had to sit down for like 5 minutes, and I just couldn't. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was like, it was kind of like a whippet and a mushroom trip all in one for
That's
like
a-
4 or 5 minutes.
You're right. I mean, I definitely have it's very
It was
out of
bizarre.
body.
Like I got that want thing, and I was like seeing, like it was at night, and like the street lights were on, and like the light was just going with the want sound, like fading in, fading out, fading in, fading out, and I
Yeah.
was just looking around. It was almost like a slow strobe light, and not for me. I was like, fuck this shit. Yeah, that was not good.
No, it's.
But then, 10 minutes later, I was like, all right, we're going to the next bar.
I'm
It was
fine.
like,
yeah, you're totally
so weird.
You're totally good. A lot of people recommend chewing the leaves. If you have,
Oh,
if
really?
you get the fresh plant, it comes on a lot slower. They say, and it's more traditionally, I think, how it's supposed to be done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should go to Peru and do ayahuasca.
That's the big one. That's the big one I'm holding out for. They say that when you're ready for ayahuasca, it calls you. It sets the circumstances up to
Yeah.
get you there. And I have to admit, I'm very afraid of it, which is probably not the best attitude to have and wanting to take it. But I mean, that's something that's completely different. You've heard the reports of that, right? Or even just starting with the smoking of the DMT first.
Yeah, well, I was going to say DMT, then peyote, then ayahuasca.
Right.
Just work your way up.
Yeah. Well, DMT.
Although, what's on a higher level, DMT or
DMT
peyote?
is ayahuasca, just
Is
in the smokable form. So it's a shorter, more intense. It's more intense and shorter. Ayahuasca.
I wonder what's the difference between peyote and ayahuasca? Because I know you both like puke and all that shit,
Well,
and then you have a vision quest or some shit.
I think what's the word? Like chemistry-wise, peyote is of the mescaline compounds, and what was the one we just said?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca that's a plant.
Leaf?
That's a vine.
Okay.
But you have to. Do you know how they make it?
I don't know.
I'm gonna get this. This is crazy. Okay, so the vine that is ayahuasca contains DMT, as all plants do, right?
Okay.
In fact, all living things contain DMT.
Really?
Yes, we and our bodies contain DMT. It's in all living things. This is why it's a big, important mystery to scientists. But the problem is we metabolize DMT in our bodies, so we never trip from it the way you would with ayahuasca. The ancient shamans figured out that if you take this DMT-containing plant and brew it with this other plant, the chemicals in this other plant prevent the DMT from being metabolized in your body. Now, the question is, how the fuck did they know that? And their answer is, the plants told us. Because the plants are organic spirit entities, and they each plant has its own sort of soul, and all different plants do different things, and that's the role of a shaman, is to know what they do and communicate with those plant spirits for healing or whatever.
That's just crazy.
I mean, how else would they know to mix these two things together and have this experience? Now, would you go to an ayahuasca retreat? Or,
I don't know.
Or hardcore Peru
really
shaman?
I don't know if I would ever do that.
I feel like I have to at some point. At some point, it's just something I'm going to have to experience.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for me.
Well, yeah.
It's some heavy shit.
You reached your quota, right?
There's do you like Chelsea Handler?
Yeah,
you ever heard of her show
my
on
mom
Netflix?
loves her. Yeah, I've seen.
Chelsea does. She does ayahuasca on one of her things.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Because she was on Howard Stern, and Robin has done. She went to Peru and did ayahuasca.
I remember that. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. This comedian, he was on Duncan Trussell's, comedian named Shane Mouse, M-A-U-S. His last tour was a psychedelic themed tour, so all the stand-up comedy, I guess, was about that. I haven't actually seen it, but this dude has done dozens of ayahuasca trips.
Really?
So he was talking about it, and just because every time I smoke it, I tell myself, oh, I've done this before, I know where I'm going, I've been there, but because it really is going to another place. He's like, everything around you completely dissolves. You're in another place. Because I tell myself, I've done this before, I know how to navigate, because in every time it's something completely different. He's like, it's the same realm, but it just has infinite worlds in it. And that's the thing that separates ayahuasca from all the other psychedelics, is where you laughed when you heard shamans communicating with the plants, but apparently, like, that's what mushrooms are. Like, they're communing with our bodies. They're an intelligence that we're communing with. But ayahuasca, apparently, there's no doubt. Like, once you're on it and you experience it, you are actually communicating with entities from some other dimension. And every person who has taken it has reported the same thing, no matter what their prior belief system was.
Wow. Huh.
It's usually reported as some sort of fractal geometry, these geometric entities that just communicate with people telepathically, and that they download information into you. And some people take it and
Interdimensional downloads.
Yeah, and but some people take it and they start freaking out. And they say every time you freak out, the entities are like, no, it's all right, just relax, calm down. Or some people have tried to talk verbally, and they say, no, don't talk, just use your thoughts. I mean, I don't know. That's what fascinates me. I don't know until I experience it for myself.
Right.
But it is fascinating to hear all of the similar reports. It's almost like the psychedelic world is another dimension, or a combination of other dimensions, and the people who have been taking this stuff and really serious about it, they're the explorers. They're like the Magellans of this new territory. Or is it just all in everybody's individual head?
No, I think that has some merit. I mean, obviously, literally anything is possible. I think one of Stephen Hawking's last papers before he died was somehow proving the existence of other dimensions or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that could be it. I mean, I forget what fucking movie was that. It was a recent one, like Night Train or something like that. No, not Night Train.
Night Train?
Where the little kid had to wear like goggles because he had like, I don't know, they like shot out light or something like that, and he could see into other dimensions. And at the end, these beings in the other dimension reveal themselves or something like that.
Cool,
and what's
okay.
like a marsh. I thought you've seen this movie. Am I not describing it correctly?
It doesn't sound familiar at all.
Oh, but
I did see Ready Player One, though.
Oh, that's right. I still hadn't seen it. The whole reason I read, well, not the whole reason. Reading should be its own reason. But I wanted to read the book before the movie came out, and I read the thing, and I never saw the fucking movie. Oh.
I really liked it the first time, and the second time I was just sort of
Oh,
like,
yeah, you did go again?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I see you still haven't seen it.
No. I'll find someone with a really cool home theater set. Oh, my brother. I'll go watch it at my brother's. He's got a nice setup.
To me, it was just, I love movies that seem very close to what's coming.
Right.
You know?
So, I would say that, yeah, the reason I wanted to see it was, like, for the nostalgic reasons and what you just said.
Yeah.
And because it looks like a cool sci-fi action, and see it on a big screen with a nice sound system and stuff.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it twice.
Well, the second time I took
I forget,
Devin,
did it even do well?
I took Devin. No, I don't think so.
Huh.
I mean, not really.
Yeah.
I took Devin the second time because I thought she would like it, but she was sort of about it too. I guess. You know,
Oh, really?
a lot of it is.
Yeah, but she doesn't get the 80s references.
She doesn't get all the references, although it is kind of brilliant because I don't know, one night I'm messing around with her, you know, the door's shut, and I'm going, "Here's Johnny." I'm like, "You don't know what that is, do you?" So I show her just that little clip from The Shining. She
Right.
knows Stephen King.
Okay.
And
I was
said,
going to say,
"Yeah,
doesn't she love horror movies?
Yeah. So she kind of knew Stephen King, and I said, "This axe scene." So then we're watching Ready Player One as the whole Shining thing with him in the axe.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was in the
Oh
book.
shit, that's right. You haven't seen it, and I just spoiled a part of it. Yeah.
Whatever.
But
I know they added shit in.
Okay, so yeah, there's a whole scene where it all takes place in The Shining, like a virtual Shining reality.
Oh, they changed it then. Because the virtual realities are like, what was the first one?
I think this was
War Games was one of the virtual worlds.
Oh, really?
Virtual mazes. And the other one was like Pretty in Pink or something like that. Or
Really?
a John Hughes movie. Or maybe it was Breakfast Club.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they obviously changed it for the movie.
Oh yeah, they used The Shining, so it was just perfect. When she saw the axe scene, she turned and looked at me. She's like, "Oh, like, see, now you know what that's a reference to."
Yeah. And Shelley Long, I forget her character's name, just screaming in the corner of the bathroom.
Yeah. I'm still trying to remember if I've ever actually watched that movie straight through. I
Oh,
must
really?
have, because I have all these different memories of it from different scenes. So
yeah.
I must have.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I read a lot of Stephen King when I was younger, and I always think the book is better than the movie. So the movie didn't scare me that much. I mean, there's obviously jump scenes that make you get startled or whatever, but
What is or was your favorite Stephen King book? We'll say book first.
Book?
Yeah.
The Stand,
Okay.
definitely. Then I guess It. But yeah, The Stand was so cool. I always loved that type of, like, some virus wipes out 99.9% of the population and you're just left to fend for yourself.
Hey.
And I mean, there's, yeah.
You know what that reminds
Just that
me
whole-
of is Albert Camus, French
I'm not familiar.
existentialist writer.
Mm.
He wrote a book called, well, the one he's really, really famous for, his most popular, is The Stranger, but the one that I really liked was called The Plague, and it's the same
Okay.
exact
Oh,
concept.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and remember, this predates Stephen King.
Oh, okay.
Like, he's writing in the 1950s or something like that, and The Plague was the same idea. It was just the life, it was seen through the eyes of a doctor in this town where people are dying left and right, and just this existential analysis of how different people face death. You know,
Yeah.
some are always partying, some are doing this, some are doing that.
Sure.
So, yeah, okay.
Huh.
So The Stand. Now, The Stand, I haven't read much Stephen King at all, but I did watch the Stand miniseries
Way back in the day.
way back in the day.
With Gary Sinise.
Yes.
And Molly Ringwald.
Right, I watched that whole thing,
Yeah.
and that was fucked up.
Yeah.
I remember it being really fucked
Yeah.
up.
Did they? I forget if they ever made a real movie out of it. I don't think
I don't
they
think
did.
so, no.
I'm sure there've been talk. They
What's
did.
your favorite Stephen King movie then?
I'm ashamed to say I still haven't seen it, like the real movie version of it. I've seen the old miniseries one with Tim Curry.
Oh, I didn't watch the new it. I have no fucking interest in it whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, when
Really?
people say things are really good, I get so...
No, like this is like, all right.
Devin's seen it. She finally was allowed to see
What?
it. Yeah, she went and saw it with her dad, or watched it with her dad.
Holy
She's got a high tolerance. He's been showing her shit since she was like.
Well, I remember
3
I was
years
over
old.
and I showed her previews of The Ring, which she had never heard
Right,
of,
yeah.
and what was the other one with Sarah Michelle Gellar? Farts.
Oh, I don't know.
Where she's in the girl, whatever.
Cap,
But yeah, it's funny that she was allowed to see that. Well, not
Yeah,
funny,
yeah.
but that's crazy.
Hey.
So movie, I don't even know. Maybe Misery. I will say Misery was almost as good as the book. Misery
Wow.
was a very well done movie.
Okay. Yeah, and I never saw Misery.
I just read that Stephen King said that he was a functioning alcoholic and coke addict when he was writing a bunch of his books, and Misery was like smack dab in the middle
Oh,
of
yeah.
that. And a lot of his characters are drugs. Like he said, the hell with Kathy Bates' character in that? Whatever, the psycho woman in it represents cocaine to
Wow.
Stephen King.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a really cool way of bringing it back to our. You just circled.
Yeah,
right.
right.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the only Stephen King books I've actually read, this is embarrassing, are The Long Walk, which is one
sure.
of Richard Bachman, his early stories.
Yeah, did you read that, whatever it is, 4-story?
No, just the one.
Oh, really?
So I still have the Bachman books. I just only read that one, and I haven't gone back.
Oh,
to
so
read
you
the
have
others.
4 of them? Well, there was,
Yeah.
Running Man.
Running Man.
Yeah.
is in there.
Apt
Apt
the story
Pupil.
wasn't called Apt People, the movie was.
Right.
What was the 4th in that
I
one?
can't remember. It's not the Stand By Me story, is it? The Body?
It might have been. Yeah, The Body. That was it.
See, I should go back and read that.
They were all really good.
Yeah. And then the one I just read, it's funny because that's one of his earliest, and I read one of his latest, which was 11/22/63.
I really want to read that.
It was great.
Was it?
I enjoyed it a lot.
All right.
Nikki started watching the series because she read it, and the series just, it just takes so many different liberties and it just completely changes it. so I didn't really have any interest in watching it. The book was good.
Yeah, like I said, I read a lot of Stephen King. I probably read 15 or so of his books. Yeah.
You don't read a lot in general, right?
Not anymore.
No,
Not like I
neither.
used to. I got a Kindle, and it kind of helps. I'm looking forward to the summer because I got a paperwhite one, so I can actually read it on the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be nice. That's what I plan on doing. I still have. I told myself if I buy a book, I have to finish it before I buy a new one. So I got like a double bundle with Animal Farm in 1984.
Oh, wow.
I've never read.
You've
either
never read
of
those? Oh, yeah.
Pathetically, no.
That's good. No, yeah, get through those.
So I want to read those.
Shit.
They don't seem even that long.
How about Lord of the Flies?
And then, I've read that.
Okay,
I would do. That was junior year English.
Yeah.
That was a great book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I had seen that movie. I saw the movie before I'd read the. Or no, maybe. Yeah, even back then I was such a nerd. I wanted to read the book before the movie.
Wasn't there
First
a
seeing the
wave,
movie.
a media wave, not too long ago that was bringing up 1984 again in reference to something that was going on?
Oh yeah, the surveillance
All
that
the surveillance.
Edward Snowden
I
revealed.
But I mean, it's
The
just
NSA surveillance that we're constantly under.
yeah. And then didn't sales of that book go up?
Oh yeah, they spiked on Amazon once it was revealed.
Dude, wait till you read 1984. I
Yeah, that's
remember,
why I'm doing Animal Farm first because I
Yes.
went 84.
Yeah,
last,
84
yeah.
is just it's disturbed me on a level I'll never forget. It was that potent.
Yeah. You've seen V for Vendetta, right?
Yeah.
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 It's a great movie.
I've read
Another
the,
Wachowski, Sense8, V for Vendetta.
Wait, say that again?
They were made by the Wachowski siblings.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh shit. I didn't know Sense8 was too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Matrix.
Didn't you feel
V
that
for
that was
Vendetta.
what the Last Jedi did with what do they call it now? Force projection. Isn't that very Sense8 in a way?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, Star Wars takes place in a galaxy far, far away, but I mean, Sense8 is more built on the fact that, I guess, almost like you were saying before, interdimensional travel. Except, I guess you're not really traveling interdimensionally, but the concept of I forget even what it's called now.
Astral projection.
Not astral projection, but kind of like quantum computing, where a bit can take on both 0 and 1 at the same time.
Oh, not quantum non-locality.
And it's just how it's observed. So if
Yeah.
you think of that in terms of computing, why can't atoms, like you can have an atom basically represented in two states or maybe even in two places at the same time?
Yes.
So if that's true of atoms, when you put enough atoms together, they become, if you have the right atoms, they become cells. So why can't humans evolve to a point where the atoms that make us up can be in two places at the same time, and those atoms just happen to be in the cerebral cortex or whatever it is in our brain, whatever links those people together. I mean, that's basically what the show operates. The premise of the show
it's based on the
operates
principle of quantum non-locality,
Right,
which makes
exactly.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because everything is connected to everything
Right.
else. So, but then
And the humans have just evolved to the point where they can harness that interconnectedness in clusters of 8 people.
so then I infer that there are higher dimensional entities that are either helping or hindering that progress.
It's
throughout
quite
the show.
possible. Quite possible.
Art reflects. What is it? What do they say?
Art imitates life,
Art
imitates
imitates
art.
life. Life imitates art. Yeah. Good old art.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm psyched to see that Sense8 finale now.
Yeah. So are
was a
we
pretty
going to
good
get
show.
there? Are we going to get there as humans? I mean, is that something that we're going to be able to do? Where's this all going?
I'll be lucky if I can be a space tourist in my lifetime.
Space tourist.
Well, that's not, I guess I shouldn't say lucky. That's definitely going to happen in the next 10 years.
Sure. I was telling a friend this week, you know how we sort of came in, I'm sorry, I asked you a question and I thought of this, but you know how we came in at the cusp of the technology wave with computing? I mean, we're the last ones, right? There was none of it. I mean, it was there, but
Right.
No home computing, and then boom.
Right. We were pretty much the last of, I mean, I guess you could call us non-digital natives.
Right.
Like, we didn't have it since we were growing up.
Right.
I mean, since we were born, sorry.
There you
but
go.
eventually growing up, it was introduced in our generation, yeah.
So now, when they figure out cloning the organs and replacing organs and life extension, I'm holding out this tiny, tiny hope that we'll catch the beginning of that wave, too.
Have you been watching Westworld?
I have not. Please do not tell me anything. Yes, I know. I'm actually kind of glad that I'm saving that for the summer so that I can just go straight through it. I think I'm just going to go straight through it.
I mean, they bullshit you around so much with that, but I'm glad that they're actually starting to answer some questions.
Okay, good.
But yes, I can see where you're going with that. Like, Elon Musk is working on a brain-to-computer link.
And yet he's terrified of AI.
Right,
so, like,
exactly.
What the fuck's going on here?
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's possible that computing can get to the point of simulating a human brain, but, like, I don't know if you'll ever be able to upload a consciousness and exist virtually. I guess maybe.
I think if you're thinking it in terms of what we know now, or even what we can project from now, no.
Yeah.
But I still, like you said earlier,
I guess.
Literally everything is possible.
Technology growth is exponential, so
yes.
It who knows?
But see, that's my other question though. And so yeah, technology growth is exponential, and so everybody believes that it's inevitable. The AI is going to wake up. I believe, and some people believe that it's already awake and aware, just either biding its time or, not letting us know.
Skynet is sentient?
Yeah, Skynet. But that's a real legitimate question.
Or no, Skynet is self-aware.
Like one of my students asked me the other day, they said, is it possible to have a human, I think he even used the word android, but that is in your home doing everything for you? And I said, well, yes, that's possible, and that could come very soon. I said, but we were talking about AI and how the computers could wake up. I said, but now, if that android that you have is awake and aware, what right do you have to make it do your chores for you?
Right.
And will it not want to?
But how do you measure that awareness in the first place? How do you know it's aware?
Well, I think if it...
at its core, like, that's what I like about Westworld. Like, at its core, these things are machines. They are man-made, they are programmed, they're running code that humans created. Like,
So
are they sentient beings? Like, I know, like, the Turing test for AI and all that shit, but does that truly mean that an android is self-aware? I don't know.
Well, and if it is self-aware, I would assume that it would be smarter than us in a lot of ways. So that, where am I going with this? I think that question would become a moot point if the AI got our attention somehow, where we just couldn't. I mean, at what point do you stop looking at it as a program run amok, and it's like, oh no, it's like not allowing us to move because it wants us to get our attention.
Well, again, if you can't tell the difference, does it matter?
It's the same thing with a psychedelic experience. When people say, "Oh, all that shit was just in your head," you have this profound revelation and it changed you as a person, and you're better off for it, or it helped your depression. But it was all just in your head. You know that, right? It's like, who fucking cares whether it was these spirits from another dimension or
it's still in my head. It's still happening.
I had the experience, yeah. And then what?
But then going back to that, like, so are you of the opinion that all AI will eventually have the same intelligence level, or will we be able to program or I don't know why we'd program dumb AI
we have that
androids,
now.
but
No, but we have that now.
No, but like to the point where when we are sophisticated enough to control that, like, are we going to say, all right, all AI is going to be set at X level, and I don't know, like when we have maids and hosts and...
Wait, hold on, so the Rick and Morty, what is my purpose? You pass butter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well...
Or wait, what was the other one? The Mopper. When they were sitting around like the weird superheroes like Ghost Train and...
Okay.
Who are the other superheroes? I can think of as Ghost Train.
I can't
Wasn't there a
remember.
blob one or
Is
something
that
like that?
season 3?
And there was just like some guy mopping up in the background. Whatever.
I don't remember. I'm
It was,
sorry.
yeah, but
I should go back and rewatch season 3 again at some point.
yeah.
But no, so in answer to your question, but anybody that knows me and is listening to this right now is going to be pissed off when I say Dune covered this.
Okay.
Okay, but there was, in Dune, the whole backstory is, we created an AI, and they fucking took over, right?
Okay,
And
like
it was-
Terminator?
Well, it was more like, it was called Omnius, and it had a core central brain that had 7 copies spread across the galaxy, so that if you destroyed one,
Huh.
and then there was some issues with like the uploading, so maybe it would lose some time before.
Okay.
Okay, but this Omnius had a partner called Erasmus. So Omnius was the cold, logical Skynet type, fuck humanity, just order, control, or the Matrix. Whereas Erasmus was this robot who, I guess, got so intelligent that could have defeated Omnius, so Omnius just sort of made it its partner. And Erasmus was the one that was like, no, humans are fascinating. Let's study them. So for hundreds of years, Erasmus was torturing humans and doing all these experiments on them. But I guess eventually Erasmus comes to agree that humanity is worth coming together, integrating with. And that's sort of where Dune eventually goes, far in the end.
Okay.
But it starts off in the backstory where you have humans taking their brains. We would call it now the upload or download.
Okay.
Right? But just taking their brains, installing them into all kinds of various, robotech bodies, experiencing something like sex with their partners in ways that we can't even possibly imagine, because they can connect synapses and all this shit. And these people become the titans, the overlords, and that enslave humanity, because they can extend their lives now out indefinitely as long as they can reproduce into a different machine.
Altered Carbon, did I tell you about that too on Netflix?
Watch the first episode.
Okay,
Yeah. So it's the
Very
same
similar,
idea, right?
yeah.
Right? Same idea. Then it gets to the point where even the thinking machines themselves destroy the Titans, and now that's Omnius and takes over everything. So there's this whole war called the Butlerian Jihad, and the humans finally defeat the machines. But a law is placed that any machine from now on cannot be made in the likeness of a human brain. So that, like you said, there's a sort of term limit or intelligence limit on any machine, and anybody that violates it gets annihilated. It's that serious.
Yeah,
because
well, I was just going to say, what happens when someone decides to violate that and goes unchecked?
Yeah, well, there you go.
And there's the premise of it.
It's funny because that, if you actually look at Dune, that never really actually happens to the point where you get a bad AI again. There are people that skirt with it and push it, but it never goes to that. Because one of the big focuses of Dune, and I like this aspect, is because you can't rely on machines that are at brain capacity anymore, it forces the humans to learn to develop their brain in ways that were not previously possible. So that things like control of individual muscles, being able to take a poison and rearrange its molecular structure in your body. I mean, these are way out there things, but also still in the realm of possibility. I mean, I would think so.
Yeah.
And then they had people called mentats, so they were the human computers. And so that was like a cool aspect of Dune. Is like, well, no, we're not going to let the machines do it. We're going to evolve ourselves.
Interesting.
To do these things.
Huh.
And then they found the spice, which let them live for 300 years. So that was the big Deus Ex Machina.
Spice.
The spice.
Have you heard of that spice? The drug? K2?
They call it, I forbid them to call it spice.
For some reason,
the real spice.
Oh, it's already.
I know.
It was big on military bases or some shit like that. It's like
Figures.
synthetic weed. It's so bad.
Yeah, figures.
People OD on it and shit. Yeah. So you've read the Dune series and seen all the movies?
Yes, and
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but Dennis Villanueva, I think
Mhm.
that's how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
He's the guy that directed Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He is a huge Dune fan, and the Dune movies are happening.
Really?
Script is written, pre-production is
See,
gonna
aren't there
start
like,
soon.
I think I wanted to see the movie, but then again, I wanted to read the books, and then I saw there's like 6, 7, 8 books in the series?
Well, there's 6 books by the actual Frank Herbert
Sure,
author,
right.
and then after he died, all the Omnius Erasmus shit that I told you, that was all written by his son. His son ended Dune, because Dune had 6 books, and it ended on a cliffhanger. So he finished it out with 7 and 8, okay? And then he went back and did all the prequels of the computers rising up and all that
okay.
shit. That was all in Frank Herbert's head. But the Dune series is... I guess I'll tell you this. Yes, you should read the entire series, because it's unlike...
Well, how long is each book, too?
It's 300 pages,
Okay.
maybe something like that, 400. But I understand what a commitment that is for somebody. So I would say, before the Dune movies come out, just read the first book before you see the movies.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. And if you want, after you read the book, you want to go see the horrible David Lynch film, you could see it. If you want to see the better miniseries version, which was way better, you could see that. But read the book first.
Okay.
For that, definitely. I mean, I'm saying all the time, there's so many things that he foresaw in Dune that came to pass. And one of the big things was that was recent, where they stored actual data in a molecule, a DNA molecule.
Oh, yeah, DNA, yeah.
They said
That's
he
the
was-
next storage. I mean, they're already doing that.
Right. So that was his whole thing in Dune, was talking about not using computers, but that you could store memories. And that when people died, certain, like the Bene Gesserit, this female sect, they were able to transfer their life memories over to the next person. And so there was this whole concept in Dune called other memory, where because everybody that's transferring is getting the memories of the previous person that transferred to them and so on, you could have an access. You had a memory bank, right, of all memories stretching back throughout history. And people were trained to not let the memories overtake you so you didn't go crazy. You knew when to listen to a voice in certain situations and learn things. The thing in Dune was the Bene Gesserit were female. They could only access the female memories. So in Dune, this guy Paul, the main character, he's bred. They have a breeding program where they've been breeding a male that can see into both the male and female pasts and futures.
Wow.
So then by the time you get to the 4th book, and I'm just going to spoil this because I
No,
really think it's...
don't.
No?
Don't. Who knows? I might.
But just take that concept out and imagine a being that has all of the memories of every single human that's ever lived in all of history. It's fucking is what the internet is, or what the internet could become.
True.
It could become a super conscious entity that is all of us, all of our experiences.
All right, well, Ready Player One. There you go. It's who's going to interact in real life anymore?
What is real life?
Sit virtually. Yeah.
What is real life?
Is this real life? Huh.
But either way, whatever. It's just fun to think. It's just fun to think about it all,
Oh,
it's just
sure.
fun to play with the possibilities, rather than saying, "Oh, this is the way things are, and we're doomed, and everything's fucked up." Which is also true.
I was just going to say. Do you know who's president?
That's right, man. The spicy Trump memes action news team will.
Did he
Take
put
care
one
of
out
Trump.
with... you see when Kim Kardashian went to the White House to lobby on behalf of that woman she wanted pardoned?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he did one about that, actually. I wonder. Because, like I told you, they sort of took a hiatus for a while. and I think it was right after that Spicy Trump meme started coming back.
Gotcha.
Harder than it ever has before.
Do you, you know Betsy DeVos?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you have to follow a Twitter account, Bestie DeVos.
Bestie DeVos?
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
She's like an impersonator.
All right, nice.
Yeah, she had a good tweet with the Kim Kardashian and Trump picture.
What did she say? Do you remember?
I forget what it was. I'll actually look it up.
Yeah.
But she, like, here, just look at her feet. Like, she misspells everything.
Oh my god. That's a good question for you. Oh wait. Are you in the teaching for the long haul now? Are you just gonna ride it out till retirement? Do you have any other?
That's my plan.
Okay.
Why?
I was just wondering if you had any other aspirations, because I know you talked about opening the big. That's how we met. Remember?
What's that?
We were standing outside one day. I was smoking a cigarette, of course. You were just standing there. And I said, dude, I've been looking at your Facebook page, and you seem to be a connoisseur of... I said, you're really into Jello shots. And you went, oh, yeah, I'm kind of a connoisseur. Right?
Such an asshole.
No, it was well put. It was just like something you were into. And I said, I remember this. I said, I'm more of a connoisseur of the vegetative variety. Because I was feeling you out, and you looked at me and you went, well, I am also a connoisseur of the vegetative. And
that's hilarious.
And thus, a friendship was born.
Oh, that was at the old building, too.
No.
Next to the mall, wasn't it?
No, I think when we had that conversation...
We didn't hang out that first year?
Did we? We must have.
I don't know.
I don't know why I'm visualizing it by the church. No, we were standing by the church.
No, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because you going around... Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, that sounds typical of me, because I'm not readily... I mean, I'm friendly, but I don't readily, like, bring in new friends, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm always, especially from work, I guess, but it seems weird that we didn't...
My first memory of you, my first impression of you, was when I first... was setting up my classroom at the first day of teachers reporting at Golden Door.
Uh-huh.
And we went to, I guess, I forget who it was, maybe Luar's, asked me to go to lunch with you guys at the mall.
Okay.
And we went to the food court. And I think there were only just 6 of us, and you were talking in explicit detail about a sex toy party the girls had invited you to. And you were just talking about all the dildos and vibrators that they had brought. So
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I gotta make friends with this guy going to all the sex toy parties.
Yeah. That was definitely a unique experience.
Yeah.
And I did feel honored to be invited to that. It was great. There's a great picture from that where it's just all those girls from Golden Door, and they're holding me up or something like that. Or I'm with them or something like that. It's a great picture.
That's great.
Yeah, that was the night I bought Mimi.
Mimi?
Yeah, I guess they call them fleshlights.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, because I felt like I went there and these...
Were they buying stuff too,
Everybody
though?
bought something.
Oh, all right.
You know, our mutual friend, whose name I won't mention, this won't surprise you, bought something so, like, safe, and it was just, like, maybe some gel or something, yeah.
Like tingly
because they had
lube or something.
They had, for girls, they had this gel that you could rub on your clit.
Oh,
like
sure.
this, you know, and so there were girls going in the bathroom to try that out. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was this. I have a brief 30-second video of a dildo rolling around on the carpet. It was just because it was a spiral.
Oh, it was
yeah, so it was rolling like a worm. And that's where I got Mimi. And I was like, well, you know what? Screw it. I'll try this out. Oh, my God.
I've never used one. Really?
It's decadent. It's way too decadent. It is. But I'll tell you what. It's so much. But I see why people would want to use it.
No kidding.
If somebody's like that hardcore into masturbation,
Yeah, I
it's
guess
way
so.
better.
Huh.
But way messier as well.
Yeah, I really thought about that.
Yeah, it's kind
Clean
of...
up would be a bitch.
Yeah. But, you know, glad I tried it out. No regrets.
Yeah.
Unlike psychedelics, I think I have no need to use anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sex toy party, that was fun. Yeah, that was so. Then that's how we got to know each other. But even after that, I mean, I'm talking like last year. You said you were seriously considering doing something with the Jello shots as a business.
Oh, sure, yeah. I was wondering how we got on that tangent, but yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, that would be a lot of work, though. I don't even know how to run a business.
Right.
I don't know if you'd even catch on. I don't know what my business model would be.
I'll tell you right
Like, if
now.
I would just be catering out of a shop, or if I would try to sell to bars. But, like, who goes to a bar and, like, I would envision, like, a little, like, mini fridge with a glass door so people could see in. But then, like, I've seen prepackaged Jello shots with, like, a tin, kind of like a yogurt wrapper on top, and you peel it back. But I feel like, one, there's no alcohol in them, and they're going to be, like, $6. Like, who the fuck is going to spend $6 for less alcohol than you could spend just getting a shot at the bar?
No.
And then you go, like, fresh looking or gourmet, and they're going to go bad after a certain amount of time or just decompose. So you can't really do that. So then that, like, puts the whole bar scene out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, I mean, I guess if you find the right area and get the right clientele, you could do gourmet stuff.
Yeah, for like parties.
Or like catering parties,
yeah.
I think that would be cool.
And that's something that's manageable, right? You know, it could grow. First of all, I think, yes, your business would grow. I don't think you would have trouble finding a niche for that. But, and then, of course, knowing you're so good. Once you put your mind to something, if you wanted to, you would figure it all out and get it going.
Right. My worry would be just not being able to keep up with things, like being able to expand quickly enough. Because I do think that would be something that could catch on.
Yeah.
Especially in this area.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are some way frou-frou areas around here that would go nuts over that.
I just posted something yesterday. When you say frou-frou, I posted like all the data are in and the conclusions are incontrovertible. All Audi drivers are assholes. And if you drive an Audi and think this doesn't apply to you, it's because you're an asshole who lacks self-awareness. I know, it's silly, but I also kind of mean it because it just... all the time. It's the
I thought it was BMW drivers.
That's also been scientifically studied, but I feel like around, at least in I'm talking about my personal experience, I don't see as many BMWs. I see a ton.
Really?
Of
Well, Audis are very trendy right now.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would take a fucking Audi.
yeah, every single one that I see is speeding, cutting people off. They just, like, to the point where it's just so noticeable to me now that I had to write a post about it.
Well, maybe now it's just noticeable because you're looking for it.
Well, what's funny is ever since I posted that, I've seen a bunch of Audis, and they've all been, like, chill.
See?
I haven't seen one that's done anything asshole-like.
It's like, isn't there a particular time on the clock that you always see?
Well,
We've talked about, like, I always see 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's just because it's in succession, and I probably see other times just as much, but it's not as recognizable as 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, Nikki's all about the angel numbers, so you get
It's like 10, 10,
doubles or
11,
triples.
11. Yeah.
Well, that and 555.
Okay.
They all have different significances. It's funny because I would never see them, and now, ever since I did a quantum healing session with her, the first one, a few months back, I see them all the time. But I would never see. And again, you have to ask, well, is that because now you're thinking about it and noticing it? But I do not remember seeing triple digits on clocks as much as I see them these days.
Really?
All the time. Like when my brother passed away, one of his big numbers was 5s. He was obsessed with 5s. And his screen name was Ambiance 555.
Okay.
For years. So he had something about 555. I remember when I flew down to Florida, the days after he died, I saw 555 so many times.
Really?
Like I'd be talking to my mom, and I'd look at the clock, and I'd be saying something important to her related to that, and I go, now look what the clock says right now, 555. Again, is it all just in your head? Is it all just coincidence?
Yeah. Exactly.
Does it even matter? Oh yeah. Sometimes that does that. Yeah. You gotta wait a bit. Or you just gotta pull for a bit. Yeah.
So you like this tastes different.
Because it's so low.
I guess. That's what makes me think it's running out.
That's what happens to me. You know, you're right. And this really is a game changer. The whole. You know, are you worried about? I started to get paranoid the other day about popcorn lung.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And I did some research, and really what it is a specific chemical called diacetyl that apparently everybody's breathing from other things anyway, and we don't realize it.
Okay.
Kids and adults. So it's two chemicals. I don't know what the second one is because I didn't look it up, but it's diacetyl and these things called diketones. Diketones. I was telling Nikki last night that diketones sounds like a great name for a lesbian band. But there are many e-vape places out there that specifically say you do not include this chemical because they know, the research surrounding it. Because
I mean, how legitimate are these things? Like, do we know there's none of that?
We don't.
In these?
We don't. And I was looking at the nicotine vape oil that I use. It's called Hulk Tears. I couldn't find ingredients anywhere for
Really?
it. So I was like, that's sketchy. Because then I was going on other sites that I found lists of trust this site, trust this place, and they have full ingredient list in boldface. We do not have diacetyl or diketones. So this has been about 2 hours, and we just got to come up with a name.
Did we talk about enough stuff? Like, I feel like we didn't even...
We talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, I would say...
It's just so random.
Well, that's the way it is. That's always the way it is. But it's funny, because then you look down, and... I mean, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah, I just noticed it was almost 1.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So we've been friends for how long now? Since 2010?
Yeah, that's when I started.
That was the 2010-11 school year. And then you left in...
It was my first year there. Yeah, so now I'm not getting any.
No.
Or hardly getting. And I left in 2014. 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14.
You're the only one from that crew that I hang out with on this kind of, Well, thank you for...
Oh, yeah. I hope it wasn't too boring.
Hey.
We didn't really talk about that much.
No, I think we did. I think we did just fine. Considering how long, I mean, every time we hang out, we have conversations that I go, that should have been recorded. Like, that would have just been a perfect episode. So this is no better or worse off than any other of those conversations.
True. True.
We just need a name for you now. Hey, why don't we call you? What was that kid's name? Do you remember Wheeled Warriors?
Wheeled Warriors.
Man, I was obsessed with that.
No.
There's these series of books, no? There's these series of kids' books, written at a very basic level. It was Jace, Jayce,
Okay.
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. So it was like the scientist had learned to implant brains in plants or something, and then it was just like what we were talking about, except the plants took over. The plants were super intelligent, and they could grow into vehicles, right? And then the plants... There was a planetary system, I think, and there were vines, because the plants had taken over all these planetary systems. They had vines that would stretch across space.
What?
And Jace had his actual wheeled vehicle technology that would fight them or something. I can't remember.
Oh gosh.
I still have them. I still have a few.
I gotta look this up.
But Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, it was so great. It had such it was such a nice self-contained world. Characters and development.
It was a book or a TV show?
Well, it was a book first, I think, right?
Yeah, well, it says TV show.
See which one came first. I'm pretty sure the books were first, and I don't think I even ever watched the TV show.
Jace and his crew drive powerful vehicles to fight against the monster minds, evil plant-based creatures.
Yeah. No, that was some good shit. But there was also something else to it where...
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors is a French-American-Japanese animated TV show, which was first broadcast on September 16, 1985. Are you sure they made it into a book?
Shit, so it was just the show?
Oh, comic. An uncredited, unfinished comic based on the series was published in the French comic magazine Pif Gadget number 922.
But see, now I can't remember. Now I don't know if I did just see the cartoon first and that's what's inspired me.
I think
I always
so.
seem to remember it in the form of books.
Episode list of characters, the movie. Was it a movie?
I'm going back and doing all this right now. We're gonna binge.
There were
Jason.
65 3-minute episodes. Oh, 30-minute though. I was totally good.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, I'm gonna watch
The
them.
show had an ongoing plot which was left unresolved.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that was the thing. There was something. That they
One
were trying
season
to do.
of 65 episodes. What the hell is with that? That's bizarre. Oh, it was syndicated on USA in the mid-90s.
Maybe that's why. Because by the time the mid '90s rolled around, I wasn't interested. Right? I was older. So maybe that's what it was. It just wasn't. I was getting it through the books when I was younger because the TV show wasn't in the U.S. yet. That's crazy. I'm gonna go watch it.
What about Argonaut?
Jace Argonaut?
No, just Argonaut.
I'll do that. Argonaut. Welcome to the Opus Marcus podcast. Argonaut, if that is indeed your name. And then, the title I usually take from a line or a phrase in the conversation itself. Can't think of anything specifically that we've said, but usually when I go back and edit, I find something and go. And it's weird how it works. Because you find this one line and it ends up either being or defining the theme of the conversation in a way you hadn't predicted at all. Like you find a line and you're like, oh my god, that's it. It covers it. Like that's the episode title.
Well, let me know what you pick out.
It's such a game changer.
You're right. And this really is a game changer.
Very powerful having a positive family, the power of the prayer, and God, plus the positive attitude. All those things mean so much to get you through life.
We covered all the important stuff.
That's right. So now let's cover the unimportant stuff.
It's a microcosm of all of the pain of the United States.
Ooh.
Getting his mood.
We left off on a specific thought thread. You don't remember where we ended it, huh?
I'm not sure I remember what I did yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. When you're in the moment, there's only this moment.
I guess tune in next time when I have some interesting shit to talk about. Other than that, I love you. I love the world. Peace out.
Sir, I avoid responsibility. That way nobody feels compelled to put me in a position of power.
Be excited, because now it's here. Shiny gift of a lesson that you have in front of you. And now you have to work through it. You really have to, if you want to and you're tired of it, you have to work through it.
Why not? And give yourself, I would call it a dose of real reality. I mean, where nothing makes sense but everything works.
Let's be real. None of this is real.
I feel like I'm telling a story.
What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets.
People are like, oh, wouldn't you get lonely when all your loved one dies? Like, no, you get new loved ones.
We really don't know what's in store for us. We really don't know.
Well, would you want to know?
Well, no.
Let's say something bad happened to you. Move on. It already happened. Just move on to the better things in life.
I hope it's really not just us. Right? And everyone else is like, self-created eternal hell. No. Every waking moment is a joyous experience of growth and opportunity. I find myself totally spiritual centered and at peace with the balance between me and the rest of the universe.
What a heck of time!
Amen to that, my brother. Marcus, own the day, own your life.
It's such a game changer.
After all that, they won the game.